What's happening, Trulieve traders and investors? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Monday, March 25th. Hope you had a great weekend and hope you're doing well today. And in this video, we're going to be discussing Alan Brochstein saying that Trulieve is actually a sell. So he has downgraded his outlook on Trulieve after saying a buy, I think it was a few months ago, maybe mid 2023 or something like that. But he has shifted his position, and a little bit of a weird timing in my opinion. And I always cringe whenever I see headlines like such as this where it says investors should sell. It's like I just don't agree with it. Like, why do you even tell people? It's one thing to say, oh, it's been downgraded by this person, but like investors should sell. It's so sketchy, and I don't think there should ever be an article called that. Like, you can say that we've downgraded something and we initiated a sell rating, but to actually put an article out like this and title it "Investors in Trulieve Should Sell," it's like I don't agree with it at all. But anyway, I'm not the biggest fan of this guy and his work. I've heard some rumors that he's a paid shill for a lot of these companies, and if companies don't pay him, I don't know how much truth there is to that. And a little birdie told me, but I certainly wouldn't surprise me, because he's been bashing Tilray and says that there's nothing to like there when there's a lot to like. It just doesn't seem like a very genuine person, and seems like he's kind of either talking his book or, like you say, trying to get money for these companies to promote them and get them to pay him to promote good things rather than bad things. But anyways, who knows? I'm just going by, a little birdie told me through the grapevine, but at the end of the day, we don't really know. Maybe I'll have him on the channel one time or another. I really don't care to be honest. Like I said, I really don't really have a lot of respect for people that write these kind of articles. But anyway, it's very interesting timing. We'll get to my thoughts and opinions, and curious what everybody thinks in the comment section below. I made a post on X about it saying that this was probably going to ruffle a lot of people's feathers, but let me know in the comment section below if it ruffled your feathers. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice. I'll never ever tell you to buy, sell, or hold, not like some of these other people. Obviously, they have disclaimers and everything, but I'll just never tell you to buy, sell, or hold anything. I'll give you the upside and the downside and my thoughts and opinions, but at the end of the day, you have to make that decision yourself. And with that being said, I do not own any Trulieve. I own it indirectly through MSOS ETF, and I don't have any plans on owning Trulieve stock directly. That being said, will that change in the future? Who knows? I'll let everybody know if it does, but I just wanted to be fully transparent that I don't own any directly. It's only through MSOS ETF, and I'm pretty happy with that amount of exposure. But I really didn't like the fact that the employee died on the job, and that their parents were suing for wrongful cause of death. They had the ex-CFO that wrongly expensed over $300,000 worth of expenses. Kim Rivers' husband tied to a RICO case, and the mob. Like, there's not where I'm going to park my dollars. Sorry. There's other opportunities out there, but I wish nothing but success for those that are investing. And I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the chart here in just a moment. You can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter, as well. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So the post that I made, if you scroll down here a little bit, I said, interesting timing. This is sure to ruffle a few feathers. And he said, I have downgraded my view of TCNNF officially, so Trulieve. And he wrote this for Seeking Alpha. We'll bring up the article here. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I'll just go through the summary. But holders of Trulieve should sell it. Like, that's just not that's not an okay headline. Like, I don't know if he thought of this, or is Seeking Alpha making these headlines? I don't know. I know some people that used to write for Seeking Alpha and some that still do. If you're watching this video, maybe comment or send me shoot me a direct message and let me know. Like, is this Alan choosing the headline and the title? Because holders of Trulieve should sell it. That's just a terrible headline. You should never put that about anything. Like, I don't understand the point. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, I downgraded or I rated it a sell in my portfolio. Like, but you should never say holders of Trulieve should sell that, or imagine that holders of Tilray should sell. Like, it's just so stupid, really, at the end of the day. But anyways, I digress. We'll go through this here. He mentioned that Florida could potentially go on the ballot soon, and it could be on the ballot. We'll find out here by April 1st. Is the deadline, and I think it's like an 80 to 90+% chance it's going to be end up on the ballot. I think 70-80% chance it's actually going to get enacted in 2025. So, in my opinion, I don't think it's a sell just yet. I'd definitely be looking for higher prices, and that being said, I don't own it in my portfolio. If you haven't seen my MJ portfolio, I did a full 2024 update with percentage breakdown. You can check it out. Let me know if you agree with my top holdings, and let me know your top 3 holdings in your MJ portfolio. Let me know if you hold Trulieve as well. And like I said, did this make you angry? Because I don't even hold it, and it made me a little angry. Try not to get on either side of the fence, right? Try not to get emotional, but this is just not okay when people put that as a title. That should never be a title, in my opinion. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of that ridiculous title. But he said stock has rallied over 127% in 2024 due to potential rescheduling of MJ, which would remove 280E. And we know that Trulieve got money back from the IRS on that lawsuit, and they were able to get some money back. I think like 100 and some million. And the potential of legalization of adult use in Florida. So he did mention that. He said stock could go up, but on these fundamentals if it does happen. But what if it doesn't? What happens if they reschedule it to Schedule 2, or they don't go adult use in Florida? Well, like all signs are pointing to rescheduling to Schedule 3. The FDA said it has medical value, and HHS, and I'm pretty sure what HHS says is binding. Like they have the DEA is enforcing the law. I don't see why it's the DEA's decision anyway. There's so much stupidity in the world lately. It's just like nothing makes sense, and they do this to keep it ambiguous as possible and as confusing as possible to make people think that nothing's ever going to get done, when in reality they're probably going to deschedule it eventually. They'll reschedule it, get safe banking done, position the big banks, right? The JP Morgans, Goldman Sachs, the Morgan Stanleys. Then once they're positioned, then they'll deschedule it. They're not going to pass bills through Congress, I don't think. Maybe, but at the end of the day, I think they're going to deschedule it similar to what Germany just did, and then that'll be full-blown legalization, right? There's 2 ways to get there, either through Congress or through descheduling from the controlled substances list. So he said Trulieve's financial performance in 2023 was challenging, and total revenue falling 7% and adjusted EBITDA plunging 19%. And I agree. Like there's other operators like Curaleaf, there's AYR, I think Verano's in Florida as well. Like there's a lot of competition there. But you got to remember too, once these companies start to expand across the rest of the US, and then maybe they go to Canada or they buy an operator like Curaleaf just did. I said that MSOs are going to become LPs and vice versa. And Curaleaf just bought Northern Green Canada. So basically they became a Canadian operator, and they're dual, right? So with that being said, they still have to expand, which is huge capex requirement, capital expenditures if they start to expand, or, a lot of these companies have a lot of debt, so they're going to have to raise money, and, it's going to be dilution, things like that, through stock offerings and tapping the equity markets. They're going to either have to buy licenses from companies, which is going to take money, and they're going to either need to, dip into their cash reserves or issue shares to pay for that, because it's very hard to get licenses in certain states now. So you have to kind of buy it, and they're very expensive. And then you have to build a facility or pay, to buy a facility from somebody. So it's very capex intensive, right? So again, they're going to face a lot of the same challenges that the LPs are facing. And there's a reason why, when I scroll down here, I said there's a reason why Canopy has Constellation brands, Kronos has Altria, Organigram has British Tobacco, American Tobacco, Oxley has Imperial brands. Notice any trends. That's LPs, big tobacco, big alcohol, right? They're not focusing on the MSOs because they're going to have a lot of the same problems. Maybe there'll be big investments into companies in the US eventually, but we're going to hit the mega merger phase as well, where you'll see big MSOs merge with big Canadian LPs. I think Curaleaf and Tilray could do so one day potentially. They have very similar business models and markets that they're in, but that would be the blue chip phase, and the blue chip phase would only ever come after the US legalizes at the federal level, right? Either through Congress or descheduling. So we got many years more than likely before that happens, right? So those are more the blue chip phase is the established companies after a nascent industry, after an emerging market matures, right? Think of the Amazons, your Apples, your Facebooks, right? And they usually dominate. But yeah, they're seeing revenues plunge because there's a lot of competition. Analysts have improved their outlook for Trulieve, but the projections are still below the 2022 level. And the company's valuation is no longer cheap. The idea was discussed in more depth with private investing community 420 investor. And then, I downgraded a stock that I really liked at a lower price after the rally to neutral. Then I said it was cheap but risky. Today, I'm changing my rating on Trulieve to sell, which is fine. Downgrade it, say changing my view, but like investors should sell it. It's just like holders of Trulieve should sell it. It's just so stupid. So why Trulieve has rallied? He goes on to talk about rescheduling, Florida, reform in the U.S., safe banking potential for that to happen as well. I don't know if he mentioned that 100%, but Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida. These are all things I'm just rhyming off the top of my head. Germany, but we know they don't really have any exposure to Germany. I think the only MSO is Curaleaf. Well, we'll go through. He talks about a tough year. He talks about the debt. Talks about their EBITDA plunging 19%. And yeah, analysts have improved their outlook. So I highly encourage you to check this out. You can just go to my, like I said, X and click on that link there and I'll bring you to it. But yeah, he also said he doesn't like Green Thumb as well. He said he likes some other ones, and the valuations just aren't as cheap anymore, the multiples. And he talks about, what if it go to Schedule 2? Well, there's no precedent or no like indication of that whatsoever. It wouldn't even make any sense, really, in my opinion. In fact, it'd probably be worse. I don't know how that would go, but I really can't see that happening. It seems like he was kind of just spreading FUD for the, I don't know. And you probably know he's short. Like, he's probably short the stock, right? So it's either talking his book or I don't know. I really don't. Are they not paying him to talk good things? I don't know. Who really knows at the end of the day? But your guess is as good as mine. I don't agree with it whatsoever. There's no need to say holders of Trulieve should sell it, or any company, right? You can say one thing about a certain company and say my opinion, whatever, or I initiate a sell rating or a downgrade, but never ever should it say holders of Trulieve or any company should sell. Like, unless it's like legitimately like on the brink of bankruptcy and the company has admitted that. Like, okay, then that's like the only time. But we'll take a look at the technicals. And, it's one thing to look at these numbers and say, oh, like EBITDA, positive adjusted EBITDA, dwindling cash reserve, things like that. Like, okay, but you're in an emerging nascent industry. Like, the fundamental, it's not all about the numbers. Like, you can't, imagine trying to like evaluate Tesla before, 2018. Everybody and their dog, all the analysts were saying they make less cars in a year than Toyota makes in a month. They'll never be profitable. Look at their valuation. Look at the value investing, principles, and it's terrible. They'll never turn a profit. And here they are worth more than every automaker combined, right? They can't predict growth, right? Future. It depends. Like, if it was a grocery chain store, right, and there's no changes to grocery chains, right, and it's an established industry, but like there was no way to predict that Tesla, was going to get where they were, right, because it was a speculative and very high growth industry, and it's still growing at a rapid rate. And same thing with MJ, same thing with crypto. It's really impossible. Like, remember all the people that said Bitcoin would never get above $1,000 a coin or 10,000 a coin, or here it is, almost $100,000 US a coin, right? So people just have been wrong time and time again, and value investors like Warren Buffett missed Apple, missed Amazon, missed Bitcoin, right? So don't believe everything that you hear from these financial analysts, because most of them probably broke themselves. But anyways, going through this, and these value investors, they're investing billions of dollars, or if not millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're just not going to get wealthy. You really have to see the high growth companies, and imagine investing in Amazon in the 2001 bear market when it dropped 95%. Again, some of these the numbers didn't look great back then either, but they didn't forecast where, they could not predict where the industry was going, and that was, to the moon essentially, right? Like the upside is limitless with some of these big tech companies and crypto, and MJ has a very big upside as well, right? There's going to be high cash flowing businesses eventually, and this is only ever going to happen once, where we have full blown legalization at the global level. And something I wanted to bring up here is we have a potential ascending wedge forming here. Ascending triangle forming on TCNNF on the OTC. So this is usually marked by a horizontal line of resistance and higher lows, which means that bulls are buying the dip, and we're coiling up, and we're more than likely going to break to the upside. That more often than not, this pattern breaks to the upside, and then you take your measured move there from the low to the high, you move that out, right? And then it says we're targeting about $18.04. So I'd say $18. So from the high here, we just hit $12.44. So that would only be another roughly 45% from here. And also something that I wanted to mention is a lot of names are starting to trend back to their 200 weekly moving averages in the MJ space. GTBIF got very close within a couple dollars. So if TCNNF does it, we'd be at 1843. So again, that lines up again with that ascending triangle. So this is what technical analysis is about. It's not about predicting future price or anything like that, or knowing yes for sure or no for sure. It's about confluence and looking at different indicators, patterns, signals, and if a bunch of patterns and signals and indicators are saying that we're heading to a certain price, right? If 8 out of 10 indicators that we look at are bullish and they say $18, well, then we're going to be bullish, right? And this is one, right? Ascending triangle targeting $18. We also have the weekly 200 weekly there at 1843, which a lot of their names are starting to trend there. So that's 3 factors right there. We're in a monthly uptrend. Number 4, we could see the first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. We just had a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. We're in a daily uptrend, weekly uptrend, and a monthly uptrend. Like, what else could you need? Like, we're super bullish, even though I don't hold this stock. We're still very bullish. We're on uptrends on every single time frame. And on the monthly chart, this is the first time ever we confirmed a monthly uptrend as well, similar to MSOS ETF. And we're gearing up for a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, the first time in history. Look what happened when it crossed bearish. Price went from roughly $21 all the way down to $3. Now we're seeing the opposite of that, where the shorter term EMA 12 is below the longer term EMA 26, and when that happens on the monthly time frame, that's even more bullish. So this is looking really, really good. That being said, we have no monthly support all the way down to 379 from here. So we could easily come back, form a monthly higher low somewhere around $7.80, $7, maybe even $6 or $5. That could happen. But if you're looking for entries now, I would have to agree, now's not the time to be buying, right? Like, if you're up, and you got to think too, like, we were just at 342 back in August, right, of 2023. So from there, we're now up 266%. So it's not usually a good idea to go chasing. But with that being said, from the highs, right, of this monthly bounce, we're still 333% away from the all-time highs. So are you looking a year out, 2 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out? Are you investing? Are you trading, swing trading, day trading? Like, do you have a short-term account, a longer-term no-touch account, right? So all these things factor in. But if you're looking to add for the long term, I would, again, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but what I would be looking for is a monthly higher low to form, because we haven't formed one since 379. So like I said, maybe somewhere around that $7 to $5 we form a monthly higher low. That could be a nice entry, right? And with that being said, on the weekly time frame, we are coming off weekly overbought territory on the RSI, relative strength index, but we also cooled it off here, giving bulls another potential to kind of regain their composure and blast through this horizontal line of resistance there around $12. We can get over that $12.44, then we're likely heading, like I said, to that $18 mark. So there's lots to like here from a technical perspective and from a fundamental perspective as well, right? Florida, we had Germany, we have rescheduling, safe banking potentially, Pennsylvania coming online, Ohio just came online. So there's a lot to like here. And then other catalysts that we might not even see coming as well. So I think it's interesting timing. And if you're up 200, 300%, yeah, it's not a bad idea to start taking profit. But again, what was your goal? What was your game plan? What was your exit strategy? Did you enter with a goal of 100%? Are you swinging until, are you holding long term? Are you investing for 5, 10 years? Is there a time frame? Are you waiting for a catalyst like full-blown legalization like me? Like that's my long-term account. Once the U.S. either legalizes at the federal level through Congress or descheduling, that's when I'm going to look to sell into that rally, similar to what happened in Canada in 2018. So yeah, with that being said, we're above all of our weekly moving averages except for the 200, and we're closing in on it. So it's looking really, really good. And on the daily time frame, we just had a golden cross as well, with the 50-day below the 200-day moving average crossing, and we're above all of our daily moving averages. And then on the daily time frame, we also cooled off the RSI there. So yeah, we could potentially see a move up toward $18. And in order to negate this, we would have to see a drop below, call it 950. If we lose 950, then this ascending triangle is probably going to be negated, probably not going to play out. And then from there, from here, if we continue to see follow through by a break of 1244, then we'll expect, like I said, $18. Then we also have price action there at 1611. So yeah, there's barely any resistance until 16 after that. And then, like I said, 18 is the ascending triangle target and the 200 weekly moving average. So, you really have to factor in the technicals and the fundamentals, and then look at the actual numbers and whatnot, and actual financials of a company. But certainly not as important to look at financials. Again, look at all the people that said, oh, Tesla never be profitable. And I know what somebody's going to say, that's not even the same industry. How are you comparing apples to oranges? That's not apples to apples. It doesn't have to be apples to oranges. What were the analysts saying? They were saying they would never be profitable, that, it's not worth owning, right? But it's because they couldn't project future growth in an industry, right? Regardless of what industry it is, it's the same concept, and there's a lot of growth ahead. I just named enough catalysts to make anybody want to, jump with joy. So it's never been a better time to be alive. I'm not going to tell you to buy, sell, or hold. If you're up 200, 300% off of these lows, you're one of the ones who added there around $3-4, then it might not be a bad idea to start taking some profit and reload cheaper. That's an option as well. But I'm not going to tell you to buy, sell, or hold. I'll never create an article or a title of a video or anything like that saying that holders of any company in the world should sell it. Like, that's just so freaking dumb. But anyways, I digress. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Like I said, it's all signs are pointing on the tea leaves on the charts are saying we're potentially heading up from here. But we are due. Don't be surprised if, we hit $18, or, if over the next few weeks we top out and we pull back to around $6, or, somewhere around that $7 to $6. And if we just bring up our fib tool here real quickly as well, if we go from the low to the high here, this is our high. The golden pockets, they're around 692 and the 0.786 at 539. So that could be a heavy buy zone area right in there, right? So if you were to look at like on a monthly high or low, right? So let me just get that area here. Why isn't that working? There we go. So somewhere in there, that golden pocket. But yeah, with that being said, we barely have any weekly support either, all the way down. Where's the, I guess $9 and then $8. But the kicker is the monthly time frame. We have no support all the way down to 379. So like I said, from here, let's just say, 12.44, or we do get to 18. Let's just say 12 hypothetically is our temporary top, and we come down. We could drop from here 68% and still be in a monthly uptrend. Okay, so that's why technicals matter. It'd be way different if it looked like this, right? If it was like, and then another higher low, and then another higher low, and then boom, we're at $12 now. Then we had a higher low here and a higher low there, and we have multiple support levels, right? But when you go like this, like that, well, you need to expect a pretty big pullback. So with that being said, we could pull back 60+% and still be in a monthly uptrend. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the more likely scenario is somewhere around that $7 to $5 area, but that could be a nice entry level as well to add on a monthly higher low, and that'd be a 50% pullback. And Alan's going to be freaking out saying, "I told you so." But at the end of the day, yeah, you just have to be very careful and who you're taking advice from and who you're listening to. I get a bad feeling in my stomach about this, and usually my intuition's never wrong. So yeah, a little bit of a long video, but you have to look at things for what it is. You have to look at what the mainstream media is saying. These people have a book, they're talking their book. Maybe they're paid shills, who knows? Maybe they don't have the best intentions, they're not 100% genuine, and maybe they don't have your best interests at heart. And then factor in technicals and then fundamentals and catalysts in the space, right? But yeah, don't be surprised if we do pull back 20-30% for a monthly higher low at some point soon on TCNNF, as the S&P 500 is at all-time highs. And what happens if it pulls back, right? We know that it's probably due for a 5 to 10% healthy correction, which would be very healthy, right? Nothing goes in a straight line forever. But I do think with the Fed's potentially cutting rates in the summertime, I think it's the most likely scenario. If not, maybe the following FOMC meeting after that. It's usually about 6 to 12 months from the first rate cut that we see markets really start to tumble. So I still think we got some runway. I think we still have at least 3 to 6 months worth of bull time left, maybe 8 to 12 months before we really start to see a pretty big bear market kick in the broader equities, and specifically in big tech and crypto. So yeah, exciting times ahead, but definitely don't agree with that title. Just, you have to make your own decision, right? Buy something because you believe in it, sell something because you want to sell it, right? Don't listen to somebody and say, "Oh, I shouldn't have listened to that person," right? We're the ones as retail investors hitting the buy or sell button. So just, take it with a grain of salt when you hear some of these articles. But yeah, don't be surprised if we do go to that $18 mark, and don't be surprised if we do pull back, anywhere from 20 to 30+%, just looking for a monthly high or low, right? And in my opinion, there's lots to be, excited about in the MJ industry. But again, with lack of support comes, pretty big pullbacks as well. So not the end of the world. We can expect it. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what everybody's going to say in the comments in this video, because like I said, the comments on X, he was getting absolutely roasted. And like I said, some feathers were definitely ruffled. But all right, thanks for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Power Group, and we'll see you again on the next video. Take care.